Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Or if it's your first time, welcome to my channel. My name is Marlene and I talk about eating disorder recovery and everything related to healing the relationship with your own body, with food and with movement. Let's dive right into the topic as we always do. And as you can see in the video description, today we're going to talk about when do I know that my body found its set point. So for those of you who are not familiar with the word set point, it's actually not a point, it's more like a range, a weight range where your body is thriving. And so unfortunately we live in a world where we still work a lot with a BMI, and oftentimes that BMI is actually not a great measurement of health, because there's a lot of people out there whose bodies are thriving more when they're at a little bit of a higher weight than the BMI suggests. So if you are in eating disorder recovery, chances are that your body might go a little bit into overshoot weight, put a little bit more weight on, just in order to have enough energy to do all the healing that is necessary. And oftentimes people ask me, okay, but when do I know if it's overshoot weight or if it's my set point? Well, as a coach, my answer is always, why do you even have to know? Why is the urge to control that so big still? And of course, I understand it as somebody who recovered from anorexia herself. I do understand that there's a big part of you that wants to know and that wants to hold on to that control. But for me personally, it was so important to let go of that control and to just let go and be like, okay, whether this is my set point or whether this is my body in overshoot, I'm not gonna change any of my habits. I'm not gonna restrict again, I'm not gonna over-exercise. So in the end, it doesn't really matter. Why would I wait for my body to lose weight again? Why would I wait for my body to find its set point if it's only for the appearance? Now, I'm gonna explain to you in a while how you can tell if your body found its set point or not. And when I do that, you're gonna notice that it's way more than the appearance. So of course, point number one to know is that your body is not really having big weight fluctuations. And it is absolutely normal to have some kind of weight fluctuations, whether it's related to your cycle if you're a woman, whether it's related to if you ate more or less, some water retention, which is why I'm honestly not a big fan of weighing myself at all, and also especially not weighing myself every day, because again, it doesn't really show you anything. But when you feel like your body is still changing a lot, you're going like clothes sizes up or down or something like that, chances are that your body is still trying to find the balance, and that is okay. There is nothing wrong with, for instance, having bigger clothes size than you had a couple of weeks ago. That oftentimes is part of recovery, and it's intended because you choose recovery and you chose recovery and you want your body to do what it needs to do in order to heal. The next one is to have way less preoccupation about food. So oftentimes when we're in recovery, we have a strong mental hunger, we can't stop thinking about food, or sometimes it's the opposite, where people just have to make sure that they eat at a certain time because they're so afraid of like accidentally restricting again. Now, when your body starts to feel really safe, and that is when the set point happens, that is when your body can actually really feel safe, can trust you that no famine is gonna happen again, and that it can really settle down now. That is normally when all those thoughts kind of fade. Of course, you're still gonna think about food, which is absolutely normal and human, but it's not gonna be to that extent anymore. A lot of people are so afraid to never stop thinking about food. Like, what if I'm getting addicted to food? What if I will never be able to stop thinking about food and this is my new life now? And I honestly have never really seen that. It's oftentimes a huge part of recovery, and it can definitely take a while. For me, it took several years to be able to focus more on something else and to stress less about food, because it was also like such a long time that I had to recover from. And so it's only natural and normal that the body takes a time. The next thing that can clearly show you that your body is finding a set point range is that your hunger and fullness cures stabilize. Now, it is absolutely normal to have days where you eat way more, or days where you feel like you have to eat more in order to be satisfied. But oftentimes after a while, when we feel like we can really start to trust our hunger and fullness cures again, that is also when the body finds its set point range. And another sign is stabilized mood, stabilized hormones, which also can take a long time. For me, that was even longer. That was even close to 3 years until my hormones stabilized. And I'm just talking about like progesterone, estrogen, thyroid hormones, and there's like way more to that too. So if you're in doubt, please always see a doctor. But that also came with like more stabilized energy level, more stabilized mood. So that all kind of went hand in hand with each other. Before that, there was such a long time where I could never really rely on my energy levels. Even if I went to bed early, even if I had a good night's sleep, I still had days where I felt so tired and so fatigued. And I actually didn't know that back then, but it was a clear sign that my hormones were out of balance still, and also that my body was still kind of trying to find balance. So this is something where I'm always telling my clients, you're gonna know when it happens because you're just gonna feel so different from before. And oftentimes you can already feel a shift during recovery. Oftentimes people start to feel better already because they're just allowing themselves to eat more, they're giving their bodies more energy. But sometimes it's also the opposite, and sometimes people feel very fatigued and tired in recovery, and then all of a sudden, after however long it takes, they're gonna feel a shift, and there's gonna be way more energy and a more stable mood, and that also can have to do with the body finding its set point. And the next point is no more urges to restrict especially when you're in recovery from a restrictive eating disorder, or also when you're in recovery from any eating disorder that had some preoccupation with weight and restriction. And weirdly enough, oftentimes people think, oh, well, I wouldn't have the urge to restrict if I knew that my body is going to lose weight again, if I knew that I'm an overshoot weight. But the fact is, oftentimes that's not true. That is just your eating disorder telling you that. And it also shows me that you are still having a preoccupation with your weight. Because if you're saying, oh, I wouldn't have the urge to restrict if I knew that my body would lose weight, that shows me that you're not accepting your body as it is. And that is always something that should happen in recovery regardless. Because nobody can tell you if your body is going to change or not. But what you can work on is to actually accept your body and to respect your body. You don't have to love your body in order to respect your body. Those two things can go hand in hand. But respecting your body does not mean to go back to restriction. And interestingly enough, oftentimes once the body finds its set point, people are not even so preoccupied with their weight anymore. So oftentimes people are like, okay, even if my body would gain weight again, I would be fine with it now. Because that's also a sign that like full recovery happened on a brain level, that neural rewiring happened, that your neural pathways recreated, and that you're not so preoccupied with diet culture anymore. So again, not having the urge to restrict anymore and not having those disorder thoughts anymore can be a big sign that the body found its set point range. And last but not least, physical signs of recovery. As many of you know, when the body starts to recover, it won't prioritize things like repairing your hair or your nails, which is why so many people are so unsure. Like, I am eating more, I'm doing recovery, but my nails are still broken, my hair is still not healthy or repaired. Why is that happening? Well, the reason is those things are not necessary to survive. So the body will always prioritize those things which are necessary to survive before it repairs everything. If you continue to stick with recovery, it's eventually gonna repair all of that, and chances are that those things are even gonna be way healthier than ever before, but it takes time. So I noticed a shift when my hair was growing longer, way faster, when it was looking healthier, when my nails stopped brittling, and that was like way after I started recovering. That was me years into eating already. But these are the things that the body will prioritize last, and when your body is trusting you enough and trusting the fact that there's gonna be food around enough to repair those things, that's always a good sign that the body found its set point range. One more thing as to that. A lot of people always ask me, well, is it possible that like an eating disorder or dieting change the set point range? And honestly, there are studies that say yes, there are studies that say no. And I wouldn't even necessarily focus too much on that because, as I said before, the main focus in recovery should be to trust your body and to accept and respect your body. Again, you don't have to love it. If you can, that's amazing. But to just be neutral towards your body, to not hate your body, and especially to not go back to restriction. Another thing is a lot of people develop eating disorders at a very young age. So if you were a teenager when you developed an eating disorder and you recover when you're in your 20s or 30s or whenever, chances are that your body of course changed because you're way older. And your body is supposed to change. From the perspective of somebody with a healthy mindset, you don't even want to have a teenage body anymore when you're in your 20s. But oftentimes that can be challenging in recovery, and that's a sign to take a closer look at those beliefs and to understand why is it so scary for you to be in a grown-up body. Maybe it has to do with, being scared of responsibilities. There are so many things that come to it, but that just is a little side note. As always, let me know in the comments what you feel about this video, and if you have any other questions that you would like me to answer in the next videos. If you need more support and want to reach out and inquire about working with me, all the information I put at the end of this video, and otherwise I will see you in the next one.